Welcome back to another exciting Lifestyle with Kim Litvak. Today I'm bringing you something very special. I am doing my double crust pizza. In this house it's referred to as Jake's Pizza because it was a pizza we had in Arizona a long time ago, and I've just recreated it, so it's been in my trusted family cookbook for a couple of decades. So it's always a treat. My husband's always asking me for me to make it, and it's been a long time since I have. So today, double crust pizza. So today, as I mentioned on Lifestyle with Kim Litvak, we are doing a double crust pizza. So it is a special pizza, in my humble opinion, not just because I make it, but you have a bottom crust, then you put your toppings, so your cheese, then you have a top crust, and then you put your sauce. And then that bakes and gets wonderful, ooey-gooey, wonderful crust. So to get that started, 1 packet of yeast, right into the bowl. And then we're gonna get just shy of about 1 3/4 cups of warm water. Right about, anywhere between 100 105 degrees. I like to really go over that. You can go up to like 110, they say, but I never risk killing my yeast. So I'm gonna grab water real quick. So our water here is about 104 degrees. We'll go ahead and add that into our active dry yeast. And then I have 6 teaspoons of sugar. That will feed the yeast, and cover this with a towel for about 10 minutes and let that yeast kind of wake up and get happy before we move on to the next steps. So now that our yeast is bloomed and we know that the yeast is good, we're gonna go ahead and add the rest of our ingredients, which isn't much in this particular step. We have a little over about 5 cups of all-purpose unbleached flour. You could also totally do a bread flour here, but if you're gonna do a bread flour, I would do a slow rise in the refrigerator to get the kind of crust you want. And then I've got about a good about a teaspoon and a half of kosher salt. Add that, and then we are headed to the mixer, and the mixer's gonna do the rest of the work for us. Now we've got the dough coming together. I'm gonna go ahead and just put it out on this real quick because there's no reason to dirty another pan. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit of a drizzle of olive oil for while it rises. And you're gonna put your dough right back in. And then you'll put this in a warm spot to double in size for about an hour and a half, covered and away from any kind of drafty area. If your oven has a bread proofing thing, that's actually awesome too. I often use that, so you can do that as well. While our dough is rising, I'm gonna go ahead and at least get started on what we're going to put in, which is a little bit of sausage. So just take some links, cut them down, don't stab yourself. So we'll brown that, and then I also need to get started on my sauce, because we are gonna put homemade sauce on this. And I'll get started on that in just a second. While our sausage is browning, I'm gonna go ahead and get a head start on our fresh tomato sauce. I'm gonna go ahead and dice up an onion and add a little bit of fresh garlic, and then I'm gonna dice up, core my tomatoes and dice them up a little bit for the pan as well, and get started on that. Now we're gonna do kind of the same thing with the tomatoes. Okay. Now with the tomatoes, I'm not being overly fussy because we're gonna end up putting this in a blender. So I don't need it to be like all de-seeded and all that stuff. Plus it's gonna cook down, so it's all good. Okay, so now we're just gonna go ahead and start sweating some onions, and then in a few minutes we'll add some fresh garlic too. You're gonna add, a good, probably tablespoon of olive oil, and then your diced onion. Now we've got a little bit going on with give a little bit head start to the onions. I'm gonna add some chopped garlic. I did salt and pepper the onions a little bit. And you'll just want to do that just for a few seconds. Get the garlic a little fragrant in there. You don't want the garlic to burn, so that's pretty important. Then to that, we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. You want it to have plenty of time to get the flavor, but not the raw, acidic, bitter taste of the paste. So we want plenty of time for that to kind of work its way in. Let that cook for about a minute, and then we'll add our tomatoes. Now we're going to add all those tomatoes. Let this cook down. You want to salt and pepper your food as you go. Salt and tomatoes, they love each other. Let's do that. Some fresh pepper. And then the really special stuff, which is this oregano. It's the most fragrant dry oregano I've ever had. Like, you open it and it literally, it smells like a pizza. I'm not even joking. Another thing I'm gonna add is, I don't know, a good couple tablespoons of sugar. Okay, so now that our sauce is cooked down, we're gonna go ahead and put it in the blender about halfway full. So it might take us a couple sessions because you don't want to fill us up, because this is napalm. You don't fill this up all the way because then you'll have napalm all over you and all over your ceiling. And I've done that before. Not very fun. Because again, very, very hot. Okay, so now that our dough has risen, I'm going to go ahead and roll them out. It's easier with this particular dough. It's a little more stiffer because you need it to hold up because there's 2 doughs on top of each other. I did go ahead and spray nonstick spray in this huge pizza pan, deep dish pizza pan. So we're gonna go ahead and bring that dough out and we're gonna cut it in half. Good. We'll just put 1/2 aside for right now. I am so excited about that sauce. It smells so good right now. you have the bottom crust already rolled out, a little bit of a lip to it. I'm just gonna put mozzarella on the bottom. Be generous. I'm not one that likes extra cheese on their pizza, so when I say that, like, I mean it. Because you're gonna have a whole nother crust on top of it. And all of these toppings are gonna get soaked right up. I'm gonna add some provolone. And I may or may not add more mozzarella. Before I got started, someone's husband may or may not have helped themselves to some of the mozzarella. So we might need to get another thing. Now we're just gonna add some pepperoni, because ours is gonna be sausage and pepperoni. And you don't have to be too, I mean, I am a little OCD about this, but you don't really have to be, because this is not the top of the pizza. It does not need to be overly pretty. You just need to get the toppings in there. And again, you don't wanna be stingy with what's going inside, because there's a lot of bread to this pizza. And if you think you're overdoing it, you're not doing enough. So when you go to eat it, you'll be like, darn, I wish I put more. Heed my advice. I've been making this for a couple decades. I'm well versed in the double crust pizza. Okay, now I'm gonna go grab my sausage and I'll be right back. So we have some sausage, a little bit ground up. I didn't put them into tiny little pieces, so you do your sausage how you like it. I wanted that bite to it. Now, my crust today for my top does not feel like being round. So we are gonna fit this on the best that we can. And then you're going to take that little lip that you had and roll it on top of this to kind of close it up. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, you're making food at home. You don't want it to look absolutely perfect, which I am nailing that today. Just really want to do your best to make sure that it's actually closed. Kind of roll it over and press it down with your fingers, like you would a pie. Exactly like you would a pie, actually. So we're gonna let this rise for about another 30 minutes, covered in a warm spot. Preheat the oven to 375, and we're gonna let this cook for about an hour. But first, before I forget, I almost forgot the most important thing. We're gonna add a little bit of sauce. We're not gonna add all of it because, well, one, we might not need it, and two, this pizza does suck up the sauce a lot, so we'll wanna add a little bit of fresh drizzle at the end. So we'll have plenty to do that. There we go. Our sauce is still nice and hot. So we'll set this aside and get that oven preheating to 375. Okay, so we've gotten our risen 30 minutes, 375. We're gonna put this in for 1 hour. So we just took the pizza out of the oven. It's been in there for about an hour. I'm gonna take it out of the pan. This is always an interesting step. Try and get your spatula kind of underneath it. And keep in mind, this pan is searing hot. There we go. Success. I'm gonna drizzle just a little bit more sauce on top. And then before we cut it, we're gonna add some Parmesan to the top. So now,
Now as I cut the Parmesan cheese, I mean the pizza.
so now that we have some Parmesan for dinner.
Does anybody need any pizza with the cheese?
Now the pizza is ready to be cut. We just take it out to make that easier. And I just have one of these. Probably got it. I don't even know where I got it. And then just cut it. Oh, you hear that crunch? There we go. Now I'm going to take what I think is the best piece for the chef here. That's what I'm talking about right there. Get that steam. And now the only thing left to do is to try this messed up piece. Of course, as you would imagine, very hearty. That sweet sauce on top with the savory sausage and the pepperoni. And then that crust stands up really nicely to it. As you can tell, it's not flopping. It's very hearty. But it's amazing. You can't go wrong with this one. Seriously, this whole thing could feed like a family of 4. Because one piece will be very filling. But you have to make this little time consuming, well worth it. Make it like on a Friday night with your kids or a Sunday. And just dress it up inside however you want, but you can't go wrong with a double crust pizza. I'm gonna go ahead and finish mine. Thank you for tuning again for Lifestyle with Kim Litvak. Don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you don't miss any of the fun that we have here. We always make great dishes, visit wonderful places. We have lots of fun here, and I can't wait to see you next time on Lifestyle with Kim Litvak. Yum.